Good evening and welcome to Also Fumar Takes. This is our 56th take live from the Casa Cueva studios of Euless, Texas. I'm your host as always, Bear Duplessis, and I am live. I hope everyone had a tremendous Thanksgiving. So I wanted to say what a wonderful it is, a treat it is to have all of you guys tuning in tonight for our kickoff to the 2018 holiday season. We have a load of amazing guests over the next couple of weeks to close out 2018. And I am so excited to be welcoming in our next guest for our 56th take. We have live tonight, Mr. Jack Heyer of Cigar Dojo. Jack, how are you doing tonight?
What's up, Bear? Thanks for having me on, buddy.
Oh, it's fantastic, man. It is absolutely my pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure. It's so I had the pleasure of interviewing your co-host on Smoke Night Live, Erica Tormson. It was the ambiance was much nicer than what we're in right now. We were down in the Dominican Republic and stuff like that.
No need to rub that in.
But this seems more official. This seems more official. You know, you've got the dojo behind you.
Oh yeah, this is home base. Yeah, this is more the way to rub in the Casa de Campos Dominican trip on me, huh?
I'm back at home in the Casa Cueva studio, so it's all good, man. We're where we're supposed to be. We are where our center is.
This is exactly where I need to be right now.
So, Jack, real fantastic pleasure to have you on. I'm really excited to sit down and talk with you a little bit about just pretty much a little bit of everything. This is going to be a well-seasoned take this evening.
A lot of sauce on this one.
Well, speaking of sauce, I wanted to ask you what you're actually drinking tonight.
Okay, so I have an empty glass. I might need some help with this one, Jordan. Maybe could. It used to have Buffalo Trace in it. That's gone. A little PBR just to kind of keep the motor running. This is kind of and then a little Topo Chico palate cleanser. Man of many fluids.
So not just enough carbonation. You actually had to get the Topo Chico in there too.
My lovely assistant, Jordan, managing editor of CigarDojo.com.
Fantastic. Full disclosure out there, I do write some reviews for Cigar Dojo. So basically, my boss was just bringing you a drink. So that's kind of nice. That's kind of cool.
Pretty cool boss to have if you want to count it as that.
Nice little perk there. Nice little
perk.
You
write some killer reviews for CigarDojo.com.
Well, thank you.
What's your most recent one?
My most recent one was the Todos los Dias Master Sensei.
Yeah. That was good.
Nick Lonsdale. Yeah, it was a good cigar, man. Good cigar. Got some more coming out here shortly, hopefully before the end of the new year. And so that'll be exciting too. And then you are smoking a fabulous cigar, in my opinion.
Yes. I'm smoking the Avo LEO5, which I smoked for the first time when we were down there at Davidoff. And then they sent us some recently. It is unbelievable. It is such a good cigar.
It is phenomenal, man. I gotta tell you, man, that cigar gets better with age too. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a fantastic smoke. So you spent a lot of time sampling a lot of great cigars when you were down there in Honduras, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm a big Avo Davidoff guy. Avo is just everything they make is just so killer, and it's nuanced and everything's so different. And Camacho, I mean, I rep Camacho pretty hard, so I'll allow no slander. we
will get to your dedication to the brand.
Let's save that for later. This is too early to be giving it all away.
We gotta enjoy it. So top 25 award season is counting down the days. So I thought, in honor of that and in honor of having you on, I would smoke something as equally as refined. Former #1 cigar aficionado, cigar of the year, Flor de los Antilles.
That is the best cigar. If I have a buddy that's like, I want to smoke something good, but I don't want to spend a ton of money, that's always what I give him, one of those. It's hard to dislike.
It's fantastic. It's like the quintessential medium-bodied cigar. You know, mild smokers can smoke it. Medium-bodied smokers, it's perfect for. And heavier smokers, they're like, I can do it. No big deal.
Yeah, it's cheap too.
Yeah, exactly. It's really cost-effective. It's a fantastic smoke. And I'm drinking. So Deep Ellum Brewing Company is down from Dallas, Texas, here in my neck of the woods. It's the local legend. It's a sweet stout. It's kind of their competition to my favorite brewery down here is Lakewood, and they make this beer called the Temptress that I drank with fellow cigar media folk Trip Waldrop and Dennis Fang a few weeks ago, and so this is kind of their answer to it. It's good. It's not Lakewood, but that's okay. They don't have to, someone's, if you're going to be a failure at something, making good beer is not, you know, certainly
absolutely.
not a failure. Not a failure at all.
Sweet Stout was my ex-wife's nickname for me, actually. Fun fact.
Sweet Stout was your ex-wife's.
That's not true. That's a lie.
I was like, that can't possibly be true because, as you and I were discussing before the show, so here, let's get to know Mr. Jack Heyer just to hear a little bit, because I was trying to do some like research and promote the show a little bit, and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to grab some photos off of your social media. So we get the photo of what we'll be talking about later with your dedication to Camacho. A couple of photos of you and, you know, on vacation with your family. Didn't want to pull that necessarily. And then like 3 photos down the timeline.
I'm like 16 years old.
You're an infant.
Yes.
You know, your mom's like rubbing Vicks Vapor up when you're singing the.
Oh, hang on there.
Like making sure you know, like tucking you in at night. I mean,
well,
like,
I am not. My Facebook presence is lacking. I'll admit that. And I used to be very active online, just on Twitter. That was like my only avenue. And Eric Espinosa Jr. said, like, he was I got him a Rockies hat because he's like, oh, I love the colors. I'm a big Rockies fan. So I got him a Rockies hat, and he's like, oh, you wanted to thank me? He tried to track me down. He's like, you're harder to get a hold of than the president. So trying to make myself a little more available on Facebook and all that. But yeah, I'm not an old guy, but I'm not. I mean, I'm not that young. I'm 25 years young.
25 years young. Okay, so your insurance just went down. Congratulations for that, by the way.
Yeah, I think it should go down.
It should. You know,
if they didn't know about all my smoking and drinking, they'd probably lower some various things and reckless driving habits. Hypothetically, it should have gone down.
Yeah, it's all in theory. It's all in theory.
Hypothetically speaking.
So when did you actually get start? When did you start smoking cigars?
Yeah, so my family, my grandma used to smoke cigarettes, and then she quit, and then everyone was very supportive of that. So the longest time, all tobacco products were kind of not really support. You know, it was like a weird thing. At my 18th birthday, I went to this. It was called Nickel Pipe and Tobacco. I bought a corncob pipe, and it was the worst cigar store in the world, but I had no idea. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. You know, and I thought the corncob pipe was kind of classy. I was like, we're doing cigars next. And I kid you not, this cigar store only carried Gurkha. That was the only brand. So I thought, so they had like the full line. So I was like, Gurkha's the only cigar brand. Like, I didn't know various things. So I spent like 3-4 months only smoking Gurkhas. And I didn't even know that there were other things out there. And I was spending
Fuente, what's that?
Yeah, what's that garbage? I didn't even know it existed. So I'm looking around and I'm smoking like every different Gurkha, different price points, and spending like $40 on different cigars. I'm like 18 years old, and I'm like, hey, I love it. It's just too expensive. And then actually I started getting online and doing more research after just kind of like, I remember I used to smoke cigars, and I would be like, how fast do you smoke cigars? I didn't have anybody to like raise me up. So I would just be on my back porch, just like smoking. I'd be like, is it supposed to like burn your tongue? And how long is it? A 30-minute cigar a normal thing? So then I started getting curious and kind of looking into more stuff. And the funny thing is I actually found a local shop because Cigar Dojo reviewed it and did like a shop. So I thought that the Cigar Dojo was like a shop review platform that just traveled across the countries and reviewed cigar stores. So I found a local shop, and then I kind of started to get into more regular stuff. And then I joined the actual dojo app, and I got into the boutique stuff, and then all downhill from there.
All she wrote a little bit.
And my wallet disappeared. My wallet. Not my wallet. My wallet didn't disappear. I just spent a lot of money. That was a stupid way of saying that.
Awesome. Well, I gotta ask. So when you went into that shop that was referred to by Cigar Dojo, like did you like ask around for like Eric and Jordan and some of the other guys, or like
I didn't even know who they were because they had, I mean their names on the dojo are Master Sensei and Sumatra Samurai, right? So I have no clue what their deal was.
Please tell me you asked for those guys. Please tell you. Where's the sensei?
Well, and I gotta tell you, if you go from a humidor that it's a full room and there's like 16 boxes of Gurkha cigars, and then you go into like an actual established B&M that's like wall to wall everything, I was like, good God, like there's so many more cigars that I didn't know about. So I like that experimentation process. I kind of went through a lot of different phases, like the summer of Rocky Patel, there was like a long Perdomo Champagne stretch. And then I don't know which cigar. I think the Perdomo Champagne was a cigar that kind of got me to the next level. And then like a Padron was what I was like, okay, really, I need to find like this. This is what I'm looking for now. Like,
you bounced around to a crazy round. So you went from Gurkha to Perdomo Champagne.
It was the summer Rocky
Patel phase that everybody goes through. Every college freshman in the world goes through that.
Yes, that was about the same age.
It's a true story. And then
the summer of Rocky Patel.
And then the summer of Rocky, and then Padron, and then you make the jump. Then you're like, okay, you know.
Well, yeah, and then you got to be the 25 count Humidor Thompson bundle guy for a little bit, and then you got to be the like glass top, and then you buy like the whatever Dominican sampler, and it's got like 16 Dark Sharks in it, and you can't even cut any of them. And I don't know, it's like this long. It's almost like a relationship thing, where like all these scumbags are like terrible relationships you're in. That finally gets you into like the groove of like what I was interested in, like real boutique stuff, not even boutique stuff, but stuff that's like well made. Like I still remember like the first My Father #3 I smoked, and I was like, oh, I get it. Like I understand what's supposed to be happening now finally. And not that, you know, Gurkha or any of those companies don't make good cigars. It was just, I didn't have an appreciation for the process behind. And I think we've had this debate a lot on at what point do you hand somebody their first good cigar, like on the process of smoking? I think that it's like got to be like their third or fourth cigar they smoked. Like the first two, they're just going to butcher. They don't know how to light it. They don't know how to smoke it. They don't know what they're doing. And then once they finally get the hang of that, you got to give them something that they can actually be like, oh, this is what I'm looking for.
This is what it is. This is what life is.
Eric's making fun of my hand movements in front of me. a lot of hand stuff. It's Cigar Dojo.
Little Talladega Nights here. Jack, I don't know what to do with my hands there.
If Brian Lewis of Caravan Cigars is watching, he's going to be losing his mind.
So but I think you bring up a good point. So the interesting thing is that I think, you know, everything you just described is a lot of people that I know is journeying through cigars. Again, this isn't a knock on any of the cigar brands that we just talked about, but they're popular among the novice, beginner, younger smoker. You know, the Perdomo Champagne is a great beginner cigar.
Yeah, it's understandable too.
Yeah, it's a cigar that gets handed out. I work in retail, as you know. That's the cigar I hand out when people are like, hey, I'm looking for something mild and great price, great. Because I still say Perdomo has hands down some of the best constructed cigars on the market, you know, like time and time again. You know, and, you know, Gurkha has its own little, like, it always like, you know, not to take a word from Drew Estate, but it has like almost its own subculture within the cigar community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's
it's easy to bash a cigar when you don't know how to smoke a cigar. It's like, yeah, the cigar that I smoked that burned my mouth because I smoked it in 18 minutes because I didn't know the difference between cigarettes and cigars was not very good, right? That's not their fault. But, you know, there's an understanding, and that's what's beautiful about the internet era is that I didn't have to go buy a book, right? Like I could go watch some cigar aficionado videos, and I could go do this, this, and this, and I could go from a point of, you know, in like a couple months of knowing nothing about cigars at all to, you know, being able to navigate my way around a shop and be able to, you know how to cut it or how I like to light it. And then it's like, you know, that's the beauty about cigars. You never stop. There's no point where you stop learning more about the process, and that's why I love it.
So one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, and one of the questions that I wanted to ask you tonight, Jack, was this. And no, we're not getting to that exciting part yet. This is still kind of serious. So it was
like,
actually,
what did my mother do wrong?
This was actually brought up to me via Facebook, via one of the fans of the show, and he's like, Bear, where did you come from? And I was like, where did I come from? I don't understand. He's like, you just popped up one day and I saw you on the show with Coop, and then all of a sudden you have your own show, and I see you do videos in humidor. I was like, where did you come from? And I kind of told the story about, you know, like basically I was doing these videos in the humidor at Michael's Tobacco, and you know, Coop is, you know, we've kind of followed each other online on and off for the years, and he mentioned one innocuous comment. I kind of half joked with him, said, hey, is this idea cool enough to get on one of your shows? And then bing bang boom, next thing I'm the co-host of a bi-weekly, you know, special edition with, you know, one of the guys in cigar media. And so it was just one of those things. So but to me, and it's been an incredible ride. I've had the opportunity to build some great relationships with
absolutely
fantastic folk with this, including the two men that's in there in the room with you, Eric and Jordan Gatormson, and yourself included in that. And so, but I think you and I have this kind of this shared common bond a little bit, like
shaman bond.
The shaman bond that I totally just like this is not my first beer. This is not my first beer.
Some sort of like secret wizard routine that we went through to inherit these powers.
but in all honesty, it did feel like you kind of came out of nowhere as well. Like how did you get into that chair that you're sitting in now, sitting next to Eric Thompson?
So it's like there was a point. So 3 weeks ago, maybe, we had a mobile cigar lounge come to Jordan's house and park in the front yard, and we did a live show from there. And then a couple weeks ago, we were in the Davidoff lounge, standing at the end of the bar with Klaus Kellner and Alberto, and there was a Cigar Dojo cigar made, and we're doing a live show at the Davidoff lounge, doing a release with, and it was kind of, we all did it, but especially me, it's like, what am I doing? Like, what? It's almost like, like this charade went on so long that it's like people stopped asking what I was doing there. They just kind of expected me to be there. I started out as a guy that was just on the Cigar Dojo, just a guy. I downloaded this app, and I had it on. I thought it was a shop locator. I had it on my iPad for years, and then I like see they like redo it one day, and I see that you can just get on. It's like and that was like the world totally opened, because people are posting different stuff, and like you can nerd out to like a crazy level. And they're doing this show, and I'm just fortunate living in Colorado. There's not a lot of cigar things going on. There's a few good shops, there's one good event, and you can't smoke anywhere. There's nowhere to smoke, outside, inside, whatever. But I was lucky enough that two cigar media companies, Eric and Cigar Dojo, and Emmett Blind Man's Puff, are in Colorado local. And I am moving my hands a lot, and Eric's just absolutely driving me nuts about
He's just losing his shit over there.
Yeah, but so I'm just a guy.
Okay, we're gonna solve this real quick before you finish your story. Topo Chico in one hand, PBR in the other, and then that way you'll know what to do.
Yeah, boom. So what happens is I'm just on the Cigar Dojo. I was in school. I moved back to Denver, and it was Rocky Mountain Cigar Fest. Is like the big cigar event out here. That week, I just reach out to Eric and I say, hey, there's this event going on Thursday night. Are you guys going to be there? It's like a Drew Estate event. It's like, oh, absolutely. We're going to be there. It's great. So we hang out that night, and, we go back to this cigar bar. We're hanging out. The next day, there's an event up in Broomfield. We hang out that day. And then at the Rocky Mountain Cigar Fest, actually, we're hanging out. We're smoking cigars. He's like, hey, do you want to go back to my house? And he hands me it was a Goldie #2. I forget which cigar exactly. It was like the best cigar I ever smoked. And it's been like 5 years now. Like they just never got rid of me. And that was the thing is we just hang out. I live nearby. And I think that there was one show in particular, this was a long time ago, where Juan Cancel and Bill Ives do this like Port Authority, like, or it's like a cop sponsored, I don't know. It's a charitable event where a billion cigar guys show up to. And we had it billed as like the biggest cigar show ever. Like it's going to have the most guests. It's going to be incredible. And leave it to Juan Cancel to just not have any internet at the place they're doing it. And we try to patch in, and it's just like, So Eric's like, I just need you. Can you just come on and just like do something? He's like, we literally created this graphic that had 20 different cigar guys' names on it. And, I just was on the show, and I was just kind of an idiot and just, like riffed for a little while. Like, oh, that's pretty fun. And, I would just come over a lot of times on Fridays and just watch the show in the audience. And I think just one day Eric's just like, hey, I could use kind of like somebody to riff. Like I can be the straight guy and do the interviews. And I'd love just kind of like a wild card, somebody to just, derail the show at times and kind of bring a little extra flavor. And if anybody has met me, that's kind of like my MO is just wild card, a little bit of flavor.
No, the most crazy part of that statement is Eric Gatormson saying, hey, I'm going to be the serious guy.
Yeah,
and
right.
I need someone to be a little crazy and a little off the rocker.
Like that's how it's gone. And then I just started to treat it like it's part of my job. It's like, and it's been the greatest thing because not only do I like it's like a part-time gig for me now, and I love the cigar industry and I love the community and all the people and just doing the show, and I'm so passionate about cigars. Just talking to people that care about cigars the same way, and there's this huge community behind the dojo. It's like my second family, all the cigar friends that I have, and I'm in like group text with people. I got texts on Thanksgiving from numbers that I didn't have saved. That was like, "Hey man, it was great seeing you in Tampa. Have a great Thanksgiving." And I was like, "You too, man. I don't remember you.
Who the hell are you?"
And it's just such a great community, and it's such a great thing that happened. So basically, I was just kind of around, and when things went wrong one time, I was just drunk enough and just funny enough to stick around, and that's kind of my methodology moving forward.
Well, it is all about right place, right time. I feel like, I think that, and like you said, we're both fortunate enough to be around some of the very best people in this industry from the media side. Eric,
Absolutely.
Jordan, Coop. They're just fantastic individuals that have really cultivated in completely a very similar arena being cigar media, but two very distinct ways. And they've built up this.
Coop is insane. I remember we were in Vegas. We're talking to Coop about, just FDA stuff. And he's like, Coop is getting all the briefings and like meeting with his personal lawyer to like go over what's going on. And we had this discussion like, yeah, nobody's ever going to, like, nobody's doing that. Like, nobody's ever going to like challenge Coop in that arena. Like, no cigar media is like really digging their heels in with their lawyers and like going over statutes and everything that's going on.
The man's memory is incredibly impressive. Like, just like and on sheer just like random subjects too. Like, it's just like obnoxious. Like, I was shooting the bull with them down in the DR, with Eric and Coop, and they're like, "Oh, who's the best?" The typical guy conversation. Who's the best goaltender of all time? And they're going back and forth, and I'm like, "Guys, Jim Craig." And Coop just looks at me with this like look of just disappointment and disgust. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I saw the movie Miracle one time, and Jim Craig was the goaltender. Hockey, that's just not my thing. Baseball, then we got a different discussion.
Well,
but I mean,
you and I are baseball guys, and I'm kind of trapped in a hockey guy area, and Jordan and Eric are such hockey guys through and through that when we actually watch baseball, they like ask me fundamental questions. Like, we've gotten this, Jordan and I have been in this like 2-month argument about ground rule doubles. He's like, the ball went, he's like, the ball went over the fence. That's a home run. I was like, no. It landed in play. So that's a single, went out of play, extra base. He's like, he hit the ball over the fence. It's like, who cares how it gets over the fence? It's over the. So we get in this huge like rigmarole about the basic. It's pretty refreshing to have some baseball guys in the cigar industry. You got to come over for like the World Series that time of year when it's just like the actual. Yeah, the rules of baseball are debated like to the minute detail, and like a balk. If they saw a balk and it was like, all right, what the hell? What the hell's going on? What in the world are we even doing here?
So the lousiest human moment that I've ever had as a person involves baseball, because I didn't break up with a girl over this, but I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere, and so like I kind of leaned the direction of like, let's end the relationship. I was seeing a girl and took her to a baseball game, and she started a very similar debate that Jordan started with you. Now, Jordan, it's you. It's just he doesn't care. You guys are talking shit, and you're not dating, so who cares? So this girl asks me like we start getting into this debate about how first base should not be first base; it should be second base because home plate is technically first. And I was like, oh my god, I hate the ground that you walk on, and this needs to end. This needs to not be anything. Like I said, worst human. I still feel bad about it. Like that basically let down the entire relationship that I have with. Bless her heart. We didn't have a lot in common beyond that too. So it just wasn't a great fit. Obviously,
you start in the batter's box. You don't start at home plate. You're not standing on home plate. That's where you finish.
Exactly.
You can't get me started on these rules things. I'm just going to spin the wheels and I'm going to lose it.
All right. So before you go completely off the rocker and before you lose it, I do have to ask, since I do have to ask, what were you thinking with this next question? Okay. So everyone's been online. Everyone's seen the pictures. Everyone's heard the stories. Everyone's seen the video. Cigar in hand, whiskey in another. You bent over a chair, and this isn't going to get too graphic, but you're getting a tattoo down in Honduras, right?
Okay, so Let the record show. There's a long road that led to me getting. I have a Scorpion-tramp stamp on my human body right now, and it was a decision.
It's permanent. Like, this isn't a joke. There's not. Yeah, this isn't.
Yeah, it was not a henna. It was not. I made a very permanent decision in a third world country, and it does not. I have no regrets, no qualms, no. So what happened was long story is we went down to Drew Estate. I almost got a cold infusion lip tattoo. Didn't do it. Didn't let the record show. Didn't do it. Years passed. We're in Honduras, and the first night, we get there, and I get a little tipsy, and by a little tipsy, I mean I get totally bombed. And I look at the Scorpion, and I'm like, that would be a really good tattoo, just the Scorpion. And I'm like, do you know what would be kind of funny? Is if I got like a tramp stamp of the Scorpion. That's the first night. So we're there Monday, first night. I wake up the next day, and I kind of remember that, and I'm like, ugh. I'm like, woof. And I kind of shake it off, and I look myself in the mirror, and I'm like, I think I kind of want to get a Scorpion-tramp stamp. And then, so we have the conversation where breakfast, everyone's
sober, like, hungover but sober, and you're having
hungover, but so that's what the people don't realize. Everyone's like, "Oh, you must have been so drunk." When I came up with the idea, yes, I was. But a lot of good ideas have been come up with drunk. The execution of the tattoo, I got the tattoo on Thursday. Like this was like a 4-day process. I didn't just like willy-nilly. I am not impulsive in that way. I was very responsible. I texted my mom. She said, "Oh God, please don't do this." And they're like every single day there was like 3 opportunities where they're like, "Oh, you didn't want to, you were just kidding about that." And I was like, "No, I think I'm serious." And they're like, "Okay, man, look at this guy's art. I think we found a tattoo artist. Like, you're serious, right?" "Yeah, no, I'm serious. And the next day it's like, "Okay, like he's coming after the show on Thursday. You're still in for this."
They keep giving you They keep giving you warnings.
Yeah, Scott Colasera he's like the Abo brand manager is like, "Dude, you're sure?" Like, he's like, "This is like he's coming tonight." Like, yeah, I'm doing it. So I thought, I was like, it's not a big deal. Got it done. A couple things. I wouldn't say regret is the word. A scorpion on a piece of paper and a scorpion on a human body, different sizes. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be, and also it hurt incredibly badly. So let's get this over with. I will show the sweet people of the internet my tramp stamp.
Oh yes, let's get this in, baby. I've been waiting all day for this.
That's real.
That is 100% real. And that's incredibly accurate. I mean, he did a really good job on that. That's fantastic.
That was the main my main thing was I am not getting a crappy Scorpion-tramp stamp. I want there to be some artistry involved. And afterwards, there's been a lot of funny conversations afterwards. Somebody said, how much, like, what was your Google search history like the next day? I was like, well, it's pretty predictable. Like, Scorpion tattoo meaning. Tattoo removal Denver. How long do tattoos last? Shame recovery. Like, you can't be. I thought my entire thing was, it was funny when I got it. It's still funny now. And I think it's been pretty great. We got a, I don't even know. Jordan, can you try to show it? Camacho has given me so much cool stuff. We have this sweet light up bar sign.
Nice.
They sent me boxes of cigars. I have like a knife. I have a Camacho knife. And also part of my bargaining agreement was if I get said tramp stamp, any Camacho meeting or gathering, I get full access to. So like if there's a Camacho board meeting, they don't have to tell me where it is. But if I show up and I flash the tramp stamp, I am guaranteed entry. And that was agreed upon by Camacho corporate. So, was it the best idea I've ever had? Yes, it was. That was the best idea.
Yes, it was. Best idea.
That was the best idea I've ever had.
Okay, so just to boil it down just a little bit on the serious note. Okay, so like, why Camacho? Why the tattoo for Camacho? Why
it was
not?
Just such an incredible experience, and it was so fun. And I just really, we were down there, and they treated us like royalty, and I was having so much fun. And their cigars are incredible, and it's a cool logo. Look, is there going to be a good tramp stamp? ever? No. So why not a Scorpion?
Why not a Scorpion? Okay, fair enough.
Why not a
Fair.
Scorpion? And also, I will have it be known that my softball team, their name is Scorp Corp. And since getting the Scorpion-tramp stamp, we were named Scorp Corp beforehand, back-to-back men's Wednesday night Denver Veteran Softball League championships. So I'm not
Camacho needs to put that on their advertisements.
I actually am going to reach out to Camacho and see if they want to sponsor the team next year. I never even thought of that, but hey, I'm not a superstitious guy, but I keep getting trophies, and what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
All right. So as you take another sip of Buffalo Trace, so there's another thing floating around about another nickname, if you will, getting thrown around with Jack Hire. Toña Beer. So I hear. Well, you obviously like alcohol because you're triple fisting at this point in the show, and this
Topo
is
Chico. Topo Chico is 0% alcohol. So technically, well, I am triple fisting, but
in all fairness, we don't know if there's actually Topo Chico in there. I mean, that could be straight vodka at this point.
No, it's Everclear. It's Everclear.
So okay, so yeah, go hard or go home. And
yes.
But so what is your do you have a certain affection for Toña Beer? What is it about Toña Beer that you really like?
So when we went down to Nicaragua the second time, so like the first time I found an affinity for Toña, but like the second time is like when I fell in love with Toña, and it's just it's like a certain thing where like you drink it in a certain place. I've had Toña in Colorado, it's just not the same. You get down to Nicaragua, and it's like this perfect mix of like water and just enough alcohol to get you by. And I couldn't stop drinking the whole time. We'd run out, and I'd have to have like emissaries run. So that was the running bit, was like I always had two Toñas. I had the one that I was drinking, and then the next one in my pocket. So I got the nickname, the moniker Jackie Two Toes, because I always had the one. And so I knew it looked worse than it was when we had our 2-hour bus ride, and I had drank like a 12-pack on the bus ride, and they're like, geez, like what? And I just get out, and there's just like 16 empty cans, but they're impossible to like really get hammered on. And it's just something about you got the cigar, you got the the Toña, and it's just crisp enough and cold enough to get you through. And I got a growler because I'm a big beer guy, and I got a growler at Drew Estate Subculture Studios, like hand painted like a Toña can, and then on the sides were like the I wish I had it with me, where like the nutrition information or like warning labels would be. There's like two dogmas on the side. It's like the coolest thing I have. Yeah,
That's
Toña
awesome,
it's just like it's like life water for me. It's like I get down there, and it was tough. We went to Honduras, and they don't have Toña, so it's not really the same. It's just not the same. It's kind of like my first love, Toña.
So you bring up a good, interesting point though about how Toña tastes different up down there than it does up here. Now, you and I have had the fortunate enough ability to travel to these countries where these cigars are manufactured. I've been to the Dominican. You've been to Nicaragua and Honduras. Have you been to the DR as well?
No, we're really trying to go this year. I want to go. I did not get to go to Casa de Campos or the Davidoff trip or the general trip. And Eric talks about Casa de Campos like it was like his eldest son that like moved away that he hasn't seen in years. And he mentioned that he's like, I think about that trip every day of my life. So the DR is definitely on my list.
Well, it's interesting, like you say, the beer tastes better down there, and it's or different, in a better light. And the same thing has been said about numerous people have said this line. So this isn't bull, but cigars taste different in their home country. They do, and they taste better in some cases. Or you learn to like you kind of revisit old cigars and learn to love them again, or love to appreciate them in a different way and everything. And I'll give you an example. Jordan Gatormson says to me, he's like, we're on the Davidoff trip, and he's like, "Okay, like, what are some of your favorite Davidoffs?" And we're having a conversation. This first night I've met him, and he asked me, he's like, "Well, what do you think about the Escurio?" And I said, "Got to be honest, Jordan, it didn't hit my palate right. It wasn't my favorite, blah blah." And he's like, "Dude, have you had it in the Corona Gorda?" And I was like, "No, I haven't." He's like, "They have some. Go get one. Light it up. It'll change your life." And I'm like, "Okay, you know what? In all fairness, and when in Rome, right? We're on the Davidoff trip. Why not try it from the source?"
Twist my arm.
Yeah, twist my arm. So I light up the corner, and he was absolutely right, man. Changed my perspective on the whole blend, and it was enlightening. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed that cigar. I really enjoyed that blend, and in that Vitola, it was sensational. What is what is one of your favorite experiences from being on location with a cigar, and what cigar was it? If you can pinpoint one or two.
Ooh, okay. So down there. Well, when we were on the Camp Camacho trip, which I cannot recommend highly enough, that was so fun. It's the coolest thing for me was like they were handing out, like you'd go in the grab bag that's like you'd open up the humidors and they had like all the regular stuff, and then they just have diplomas out there like they're like mints at a restaurant. So I'm just smoking diploma. Like I'm like, okay, I could smoke. Yeah, diploma. Okay, and Manuel Batista, who runs the factory down there. One of the nights we went to his house, and he has all these like just angry like chickens that like are ready to, or geese. No, they're geese that are ready to like fight you. He's got a pool, and he makes me drink this crazy. And I used to remember him smoking the diploma.
I know what you're talking about. I love this story.
Yeah, it's like, so we're drinking this crazy drink called Mama Juana, and Manuel has a very distinct accent. He's like, "You guys gotta try the Mama Juana," and we started drinking the Mama Juana, and there's like these geese that like if you get too close to them are trying to fight you. I'm just smoking this diploma, and we're eating the best food ever, and I was just like, this is one of the most surreal moments of my entire life. Like this is entirely insane. It's just stuff like that, and I like going down. What's really cool, and what I noticed when you go down and do like a factory tour, like a brand specific tour, whether it's go down to AJ's or we went down to Lazona Palooza, and we went down to, Drew Estate a couple times, Camacho. If you smoke the same brand of cigar for long enough, like that's the only thing you smoke, you really kind of get a feel for the character of that brand. And if you randomly just sneak in another type of cigar, it's like, oh my God, like you can actually tell that although all these cigars have different wrappers, fillers, binders, like they all have the same kind of character because they're made in the same place with generally the same type of tobacco. So that's what I always thought was cool, is you get to know a brand so much better because you're just smoking, in my day-to-day life, I would never smoke the same cigar, very rarely back to back or, 3 times in a week. But down there, it's like you're smoking all day. So it's like I've smoked, 8 Ecuadors this week. I've smoked, 6 Connecticut's, all this stuff. And you kind of get a real feel for the brand in like a way that you would never experience at home, because why would you smoke, 9 diplomas in a week unless you're insane? That was what I thought was cool.
So do you have a favorite cigar, or a cigar that's been your go-to over the years that continues to be something that you kind of go towards?
It's kind of like the favorite movie thing. Like there's like, do I have a favorite movie? No, but do I have a favorite movie in a lot of different genres? Like the Espinosa Habano was like one of those cigars that just, no matter what, right? Like if I'm like, or like the L'Orange, if I'm in like a certain mood, I can just know that I can count on that cigar to be a great cigar. One of my favorite Maduros ever is the Epic Maduro. I still I'll buy a box of that every once in a while and churn through that. It's not even like the super luxury stuff. I like my favorite cigars, just like my favorite movies. Like there's like movies that win Oscars that are very good films and they're very well made and this and that. But it's like, my favorite cigars are stuff that I'm lighting up on like a Tuesday and I have nothing to do or nothing to go on. And so I would say that there's been a lot of it's more experiential for me. Like there's a lot of cigars that have been like, that was the best cigar I smoked because I was at this place at this time and like with this company. But, generally it's just kind of the basic stuff that I really love to smoke again and again and again.
Really, I couldn't agree more with you. In fact, a great pick on that Espinosa Habano. That was the 2017 ELOSOFUMARTAKES Cigar of the Year. So
great.
Can't disagree with you. Can't disagree with you on that point.
So great.
But I mean, you're absolutely right. I get asked that question all the time in retail.
Yeah.
Like what's your favorite? It's I think that answer is brilliant, and I probably steal it to a certain extent. Is like, I can pick a favorite genre, a favorite movie within a specific genre, but I can't pick a favorite cigar because most of the time, my go-to answer is like, it's like you're asking me to pick one of my kids, and that's, it's incredibly difficult because it really depends on your mood, depends on, what time of day it is, what your day's been like, what you've had to eat. And I mean, all these things play into the fact of what cigar you should choose to enjoy, at any given point.
Well, I have a question for you.
Okay. Oh,
I have a question for you, because
Okay.
I have noticed, with craft beer, it happens a lot quicker. But I've noticed that my taste changes. But with cigars, I've realized kind of throughout the years, the size that I gravitate towards has changed a lot. So like I used to be into Lanceros, like strictly Lanceros. I was into everything. And then I kind of move into like a Lonsdale phase, and now like a Corona Gorda phase. I like really short cigars for a while, and then I like meaty Robustos. Do you realize yourself kind of going through different sizes? This is kind of a weird way to say that, but has your preference on like a size of a cigar or like a wrapper stuff that kind of comes and goes? Like there was like this Maduro wave, that type of stuff. But I realized in size, I kind of go all over the place. Like every year or so, I'm into something that I used to not like at all.
I would agree with that to a certain extent. My life in Vitolas has been one of basically out of necessity. Start off, I was young and in college and broke, and so I wanted to get the best bang for my buck. So Churchill, and Toros were always my go-to. I found out very quickly how I wasn't a big, and I'm still not to this day. Now, like some cigars have actually changed my mind, but I'm not a big gauge guy. But I learned very early on that I did not like larger gauge cigars typically, so I stayed away from those.
Yeah.
But in the last few years, I'd say probably generally speaking, in the last 5 years or so, my favorite cigar sizes are Robustos and Coronas. I like to smoke a lot of different cigars, so that gives me the ability to do it because the cigar is shorter. That being said, there are times in the store where I'll go on a string of Toros and go back to Churchills. I think the Churchill is probably still the most underrated size. Because it's it's not a thick cigar. If it's made properly, the gauge is 47 to 49, 50 maybe tops. But by definition, it's supposed to be just under 50. And it's a long cigar, 6.5 to 7 inches. 7 inches is actually the standard. And when you have a cigar that long with that slender you get plenty of wrapper to binder filler ratio. The smoke is a lot cooler. And it just makes for an elegant, complex smoking experience. And so, hands down, to me, I think the Churchill is the most underrated. Problem is, nobody makes them anymore. Well, not nobody. Yeah. It's not a very popular size anymore. When people are launching lines,
it's like an event.
Brands,
like if smoking a Churchill, like you got to be committed, right?
Yeah.
And that's like you got to make a day of it. And I kind of agree with that. There was a stretch where I was like, I'm really digging like just really small, and I was like, oh, I'm just busy. Like I just have more stuff going on. It's not like I like these cigars better or worse. It's just the time works better, and I'd feel guilty if I smoke a Churchill for 45 minutes and let it go.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that is. I think time commitment is one of the most underrated factors when it comes to your cigar smoking experience. So I think that's a really interesting question. I've gotten asked what my favorite size is, but I haven't been asked it in that particular way. So that's a really interesting observation that you've said, that you've kind of gone through phases, and I'm sure most people have.
I've gone through many phases, not only in cigars.
So I think we should annoy, because they made a comment on it earlier on the page and everything. I think we should go back to talking baseball just to annoy Eric and Jordan.
That would be terrific. Yes, let's do that.
So what do we have any predictions for the Rockies next season?
Well, and I don't want to talk about the Red Sox at all ever, because I was at the Game 4 2007, and I watched them, stomp out my childhood hopes and dreams, and I cried. And I was actually like not that young, like I was like 14. I was not like super young, a little too old to be crying.
God, you were 14 in 2007. I feel older every second talking to
you. You're an old man. But I think that the Rockies, it's just tough. They've kind of put themselves in a bit of a pickle. Nolan Arenado, I love him like he's a family member. It's just tough because I don't think that they can pay. They have this interesting thing going on where they paid a lot of people that didn't perform all that well. And now they have to pay the people that are performing well in the next few years. They got Trevor Story, young guy. Kyle Freeland, young guy. Nolan Arenado is making $28 million in arbitration. That's the highest ever. And it's like, we are not the Red Sox. We're not the Yankees. We're not the Dodgers, where we can just be like, cut the check. So I am very excited about the Rockies. We have the best pitching we've ever had, and actually some of the worst offense we've ever had. But it's a terrifying time because all these people that have got it done, I don't know. You know, I am always the pessimist with all my sports teams. I think the Rockies will make the playoffs again next year. I was thrilled with their progress this year, and they just kind of didn't have the offense when the time came. Ian Desmond is my blood rival, and I wish him the best in life, but I wish he was not on my team. But there's just a lot going on with the Rockies, and we could do an entire Rockies show, which would generate almost no viewership. And so I'll probably leave the Rockies alone. This is not, you get me on baseball and I go, my hands are all over and I'm ranting.
Well, my final point on Ian Desmond will be that I still don't understand why the Rockies signed him to play first base. That was an odd signing to begin with.
Well, and it was such a cheap contract for $70 million. $70 million. Sorry, I apologize to all the viewers out there. I'm so sorry. Google Ian Desmond's contract. Just Google it.
and get upset as Jack about it as well. So and confused as the rest of us. So it'll feel like it really doesn't make any sense. But Jack, I really got to tell you, thank you so much for sitting down with us tonight. Getting a little glimpse into that crazy personality that sits next to the serious guy, Master Sensei Eric Tormson on Smoke Night Live every week. So the final question, just really quick. If you feel like qualifying it, that's fine. I want to know, who are you the most excited to? Not necessarily the one that's generated the most views or the most popular, but who is Jack Heyer the most excited to interview on Smoke Night Live?
Like in the future or in the past?
In the past and in the future. Yeah. You just created your own question, sir. I'll take it.
Yeah. So in the past, I don't know. Pete Johnson was like a white whale for us for the longest time. And we'd had conversations about having him on just forever.
You're saying we. I want to hear Jack. Is Jack speaking for? Okay. Yes.
There's a lot of buzz for the Pete Johnson show. Honestly, one of my favorite shows that we have done was Oscar Taveras, just because like you can't talk to him about cigars without just seeing how passionate he is and like how much he cares and how smart he is about it and how, the way he plays it. So that was one of the shows where I was like, I don't know how it's going to go or how it's going to be received. And we were doing it and I was just like, this is amazing because he is just so smart about everything that he does. I think that in the future, I want to get like somebody that doesn't have a lot to do with cigars, but is like I really want to get one of the people that just like makes kind of a kitschy cigar that's like an athlete and like really grill them on the actual cigar itself. That's one of my favorite things. Like there's a David Ortiz cigar, there's a Karl Malone cigar, there's like a Ray Lewis cigar. I always think that would be the funniest thing is to like bring those guys on. It would never happen, never in a million years. But like not even mention their like previous accolades and just act like they were like the blender of the cigar. That would be my dream. It's like get Karl Malone on and be like, oh, you went with what was the inspiration behind that blend? It just seems like really interesting and that size. It would be because every time they just get these like toss up questions like, Ray Lewis, you blended this cigar, right? And he's just like, yeah, Ray Lewis. And it's just like a picture of him on the band. That would be my favorite thing. If we could somehow orchestrate like and that's not just because I want to interview a crazy celebrity. I just think it'd be funny to treat one of the cigar celebrity, that make the cigars for a company as if they were like the personality, like the brand manager, and just ask them about the specific blend and size in the factory. Like, what was your inspiration behind the packaging where it's just you on the band screaming? That's very traditional Cuban-esque style, right?
So Ray Lewis, if you're watching, Jack can't wait to interview you.
Yeah, Ray.
Heads up.
If you're on,
heads up. Heads up. You got to bring your A game because Jack's gonna bring heads.
I'm gonna grill you.
No, but I know that Pete Johnson interview was really, really well received, and I know that was really exciting for you guys as an organization. So, like you said, it was kind of the whale to it. Pete's a fantastic guy in this industry. Made some of the most incredible cigars that are on the market.
Absolutely.
And definitely someone that I'd love to interview. in this setting at some point in the future. And so I know that was a really big moment for Cigar Dojo and everything, and to many more moments in the future, including Mr. Ray Lewis when he wanders into the Cigar Dojo studios.
Return my emails, Ray. What are we doing, buddy?
So everyone out there, I really appreciate all of your time tonight. And it was an absolute pleasure having Mr. Jack Heyer of Cigar Dojo on with us tonight. This was our 56th take, everybody. We really appreciate it. We're really looking forward to next week on our 57th take, where we have Miguel Shadell will be returning from Crowned Head Cigars. Look on our Facebook page for our upcoming scheduled guests. It'll be an absolutely fantastic month of December, capped off by our first show in 2019, which will be our top 10 cigars of 2018. So tune in for all of these takes and our top 10 cigar show at the first of 2019. It'll be fantastic, exciting, sensational. And as always, we appreciate all your likes, shares, and comments. Like our Facebook page, check us out on Instagram and Twitter at ELOSOFUMAR, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. As always, we are live from the Casa Cueva studios of Euless, Texas. I'm Bear Duplessis, your host as always. He's Jack Heyer. And guess what, guys? We'll see you next time.